Well, hello there, Stacey Murphy here with a video on the gift of overabundance. And you might otherwise know this gift as the gift of overwhelm. And here's what I mean by that. As the garden season starts to ramp up, our days get longer, temperatures start to increase, and what happens? Our gardens explode with life. They explode with abundance. They explode with vegetables and herbs, and they also explode with pests, diseases, weeds, all of it, right? And so then all of a sudden, what started as a simple garden becomes a place where we feel overwhelmed. And that's what I want to help you start to shift so that you can get rid of some of that overwhelm. So here's the thing that I recommend. So in my world, whenever I feel overwhelmed, what do? I focus on one step that can take me closer to my goal. So in your garden, when you're feeling overwhelmed, what I want you to do is think of the one thing that's going to take your next step. And so you could list out all of the things that you feel like you have to do in the garden, and then basically go and pick one that you're going to do, and then all of the other stuff, put it on a list that says what I am not doing right now. And what that does is it frees your brain from thinking about it, because your brain doesn't have to remember all of those things that are on the list. It's written down. It's taken care of. You're not doing that right now. You're going to do that later. This is something that has changed my life, not only in gardening, but in all of the things that I try to learn how to do. Creating a what not to do. I basically set aside everything that my brain is worrying on, and I hold it for later. Now my brain is freed up. I can focus on the one thing that's going to take me my next step. And you know what happens is when you focus on that first baby step, is that you do that step and you're like, oh, I'm not overwhelmed. I'll go take a look at the list and I'll find one more thing to do. And I'll do that thing. And so if you can find the one thing in your garden that's going to make a difference that week, do that one thing. And if you're not sure where to start, the basics are the basics. So you need to get water to your plants some way or another, and you need to harvest to put food on your table. Do those two things, forget about the rest for a while. See what happens. And that is how I start to find more and more garden success, all right? So right now I have a bee who keeps crawling on me, so I'm a little bit distracted. I keep looking down to see where it is, this beautiful borage plant next to me. So right now, my one thing, our garden is humming along, we're growing a lot of stuff, and what's happening in our garden is there is a rat who is voraciously eating any kale that is that's not somehow caged. And I don't like cages in my garden all that much. I like to do other procedures to keep pests out. But it looks like I have to build something to keep this guy out. So that's my one thing that I will be doing in my garden, besides harvesting and putting food on my table and watering. All right? So keep in mind, that's the gift of overabundance, is the feeling of overwhelm. So every time that you feel overwhelmed, say, thank you for all this abundance, and I'm going to choose what I'm going to focus on, and I'm not going to feel overwhelmed. I'm going to put all this stuff to the side for just a moment, just as long as it takes to not feel overwhelmed, to take care of one thing and keep going, all right? So in the comments below this video, let me know what makes you overwhelmed or what makes you feel overwhelmed. What kinds of things are hard to put aside? That would be really cool to know, because we can find ways to put those aside and not worry about them. That's the key to all of this. And then also in the comments below, post what's the one thing that you know that you can do in your garden this week, that you can take a baby step towards a big goal, and you can forget about the rest for a short little bit of time. All right? Take care. Love you guys.